Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper. So today we're going to be talking about how you can be an effective rusher in Black Ops 3 because it is a little bit different rushing in Black Ops 3 than any other Call of Duty. And whether you've been playing Call of Duty for as long as I have or you're just new to the series, I guarantee you're going to pick up just a few tips, at least to make you a better rusher. So the gameplay you guys are going to see is, I think, some pretty good rushing gameplay. Despite a rocky start, I end up doing very, very well. So that's what you guys are going to be able to watch while I go over these tips. So the first thing I got for you guys is that the extra movement, your thruster pack, all the wall run, the double jump, not really double jump, but just the boost jump is a must. Like, you need to know how to use that in gunfights. Not everybody, but a lot of people got mad at Advanced Warfare because everyone would be using their exosuits in gunfights. But if you're really about being that try hard, being that sweaty, then you need to know how to use it in gunfights. It's easy to just double tap to boost up and then shoot your target. It's going to throw off their aim for long enough so you can get the shots off first and then end up winning that gunfight. You don't have to do it for every single gunfight, but I would definitely get used to doing that if you want to be an effective rusher. You're rushing around the map, somebody pops on the corner. If you get the jump on them, if you're above them, they have to shift their aim, and then you guys are going to see me jumping a lot in this gameplay. But like I said, it is extremely, extremely important to learn the movement system. Not just the jump, but also the wall running itself. We're going to talk about wall running in a little bit, but that's also important to consider when you're using your extra movements to win gunfights and getting around the map, and then just being an overall good rusher and things like that. So the next thing I've got for you guys is that flanks on this game work a little bit differently than they did in previous Call of Duties. Most notably, in my opinion, you ever guys notice how in Nuketown on Black Ops 3 it's a lot harder to rush the enemy spawn, just like to get in the other, like say you're playing Demolition, it's really hard to get from your side and then into their spawn, like in their house. It's very hard to do that because you can get picked off from so many angles. And I feel like the spawning system's a little bit different, but also just because of the movement system, people can get different sort of angles on you. And flanks they're effective, but they're harder to, you got to win a few gunfights first. You got to earn your way around the map, which kind of didn't happen in Advanced Warfare. You didn't have to earn your way around the map. It was just it was very, very random. And this is a little bit more controlled, but still, it's a lot harder to rush through a flank into a spawn. So you have to win a few gunfights first. You got to earn your way around the map, and you should always keep that in mind. You should always be prepared and ready for gunfights when they arise, because they are going to be in your way if you are trying to flank and get into the enemy spawn. And this is a good tip if you guys are new to Call of Duty, or you just haven't played around with all the guns yet. If you want to be a really effective rusher, go with SMGs or ARs with stock. Now you can rush with an AR without stock, but it's highly recommended you use stock because you have so much more mobility options when you put stock on an AR. It just makes you can move around so much quicker, and it's really important to move quickly, have good movement speed if you're a rusher. And SMGs, they can use it, but they don't really need it as much as ARs do. But you can still use it. That's pretty basic. That's pretty basic stuff. Just have light weapons that are easy to run around with. Another thing I got for you guys is that blast suppressor is not important at all. Now, if you guys played Advanced Warfare, blast suppressor was absolutely crutched. Like, you could not play without that. If you were playing without blast suppressor, you were deliberately putting yourself at a disadvantage, and everybody knew. Everybody could see you popping up on the map everywhere, and it was just so easy. If I was playing against the kids who didn't really know what they were doing, and they were all not using blast suppressor, I could just shut them down like so quick. I would always know where they are. But the thing is, it doesn't work the same way in this game. The perk is called the exact same thing. It's supposed to do the same thing too, but you can play just fine without it. Like, it does ping on your map, but it's so faint and so quick that you really, and it's very hard to tell exactly where they are from it too. So you don't need blast suppressor if you don't want to use it. I mean, you can. I'm using it in this gameplay just because I think I was doing a challenge where I can't use any attachments, so I just loaded it up with a lot of perks, and blast suppressor happened to be one of them. But guys, it is not crutch at all whatsoever, so you don't need to use it if you're wondering about that. And then while we're on the topic of perks, Afterburner paired with Fast Hands is very, very good for rushing. Afterburner, I think, is pretty crutch. Like I said, I think Afterburner is the most crutch perk in the game. Oh, like I said, because you need that for the movement system. As soon as you hit the ground, it's basically recharged, so you can come off a wall run and then double jump into a gunfight. It's so crutch if you want to use it. If you hit the ground without Afterburner, sometimes you can't even do wall runs without Afterburner. But if you hit the ground without Afterburner, it's gonna take a while for your thruster pack to recharge, and maybe if you run into a gunfight, you won't have that extra movement if you did need it to win. So Afterburner and Fast Hands are very, very good to run on a class, especially SMGs. Definitely SMGs run those two perks. So I said we were going to get to the topic of wall running. Wall running is very useful for getting around the map. I would not recommend it for gunfights. It can get you killed a lot, especially because like your aim kind of shakes around and you're kind of just a sitting duck. But like right here, this is just use any sort of wall run flank that you can see. You can actually, the wall I just ran on, you can run around the back of that for an even better flank. It's more safe, but it's more of a hassle. And each map has that. Like you can wall run a spot different ways if you be creative with it, and you can like circumnavigate the map just with your wall run if you get good with it. And of course you're gonna need afterburner for that, but being able to use your wall run movement and get around the map quickly as possible it's almost as important as the whole thruster pack movement system itself. It's really important that you guys get creative with your wall run so you can surprise the enemy, get at them from weird angles, and that's really important in this game in particular. It's just getting people from weird angles. I think that's how you win the most gunfights, or not. Well, it wouldn't really be a gunfight if you sneak up on them, but that's how you can really push their spawn and then get map control like that. Is you have to hit them from weird angles, especially with the whole movement system, because the spawns can get a little bit like janky if you if people are using their thruster packs like incorrectly, and the spawns can get a little messy. And something I forgot to mention, this goes back to the perks. I forgot to mention that Gung Ho, I would not recommend that on any SMG or AR class. I would only recommend Gung Ho if you're using shotguns, because most likely you're not going to be rushing, you're not going to be sprinting into an SMG gunfight. It just doesn't really work like that. Like I've tried that before, it just feels awkward and nobody really does that. Like it's definitely okay with shotguns and maybe snipers if you're into that. But I'm just saying, like, honestly, perk 3, there's not that many perks that are worth using. Maybe attack mask, but other than that, you don't need to use Gung Ho. You don't need to use blast suppressor if you want to be an effective rusher. You can play just fine without them. So I just want to make sure you guys knew that you didn't need those sort of perks. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know how to set up your classes. You know what you guys like, but if you guys weren't aware, if you guys are new to Call of Duty and you need some tips, this is probably old hat for you veterans, but new people. Always use, I would recommend on your guns, whether it be an SMG or AR, get quick draw, a foregrip, and a stock. Those are like ultimate mobility and accuracy attachments. So I just want to throw that in there really quick. I know most of you guys know how to build your own classes, but just in case you didn't, I like to throw that in there just in case if you need a little bit of help on that. So the last thing I got for you guys today is you need to play fast but play smart. Now, in older Call of Duties, especially MW3 just reminds me of this for some reason, but you could run around like a madman with like no sort of control, or you didn't have to have as much tactic to move around the map. You kind of could just run around and find yourself a gunfight. This is not that way, like I said, partly because of the movement system, but also because the spawns work a little bit differently and the map design and everything like that. But you need to play fast, like you need to be moving, you need to be constantly on the move, but you also need to play smart. So you need to get control of enemy spawns if you're playing like an objective mode. If you're playing like kill confirmed or TDM, then as a general rule of thumb, you can look at your minimap and basically, you can have like your own built-in UAV if you think of it like that. If you look at your minimap in a non-objective game mode, actually in objective too, but you can basically decide where they are judging by where your teammates are. If your teammates are all clumped up in one spot, you can probably deduct that they're going to be on the opposite side of the map. And like if there's just one open area, a lot of gray probably means a lot of unseen red too. Just keep that in mind. If there's a lot of gray on the map, then there's probably a few enemies in there maybe. So if you get good at interpreting and reading your map even without a UAV, that's going to make you an extremely effective rusher, because you'll be making decisions on the fly. You'll know what to do, you'll know what to do, where to go even without a UAV. And that's probably one of the most helpful tips I've got for you guys, is just learning your mini map, and then not necessarily learning the spawns, but learning how to interpret where your teammates are, then where the enemies are going to be spawning out. So that's all I have for you guys today. If you guys did learn something, make sure to leave a like, and if you guys have any other tips about how to be an effective rusher, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you think I missed anything, or if you disagree with any of my points, I would like to know. So guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.